Hi all, welcome in next video of Web API. Hope you all are doing well. So in last video, like we already have learned multiple things, and I can say like most of the things like logging mechanism, JWT token authorization mechanism, and creating APIs, doing some different operations like post, delete, get. So we are covering pretty well things from the Web API perspective. So the next topic which I picked up today is caching. Okay, so I know if you are familiar with the software development, so caching is very much like a normal term which we are being used in the multiple application, like whether this application is using caching or not, and and multiple like whether it is using the caching, so which mechanism it is using. So this way we are getting a multiple terms about the cachings. Okay, so we are going to discuss about the caching in this video. So basically, it's 11th video. So earlier in the 10th video, I talked about the logging, how we can do the logging. We talked about the different types of logging. Okay, so the after logging, so caching is the next like crucial and essential implementation of the Web API. In most of the organization means when we are like talking about the API development, so definitely they are including this terminology and mechanism, like which logging mechanism you are going to use, which caching mechanism you are going to use, and why you are going to use this mechanism. So different points comes when we talk about the architecture design and API development. Okay, so in this part we are going to discuss about caching. So before going ahead for the caching, so like we are not going to use the like in-memory caching, or we can say application level caching, in which like data gets stored only in the local system or local in a browser, because that is not appropriate when we're talking about the APIs, because API instance sometimes gets opened, sometimes gets closed, sometimes server rebooted. So every means whatever we cache it, that information get vanished. So we are discussing here, are going to discuss here the mechanism which can be more sustainable and which are very much being used in the organizations. Okay, so we are going to only talk about that today. So Redis cache I prefer to pick up here for the caching mechanism, because Redis is over to all. Like if we are using the database caching mechanism or Redis cache server based implementation, so Redis is actually very much faster as compared to the other caching mechanism. So if we are doing caching in memory, so I told you the disadvantages, like if we're talking about the application memory caching, so that will get vanished in case of like data loss, in case of like application instance close or server rebooting, and like anything happened inside the server. But if we're talking about the like Redis cache, so Redis cache is stored in the different server, Redis server, which are actually like very much stable, and it's continuously like updating itself, so it's improving the response, and it's various advantages of using the caching. So we have a portal for the Redis cache different, so we can learn that. Okay, so before going ahead for the Redis caching implementation or the configuration, we need to have a Docker implementation in our local system or PC. Okay, I already told you like in the last video, like we talked about the logging. So we saw the logging for the like console based logging, file based logging, or okay, but we were not able to see the server based logging because we don't have the Docker implementation done in our PC. So we don't want to stretch the video, so that's why I stopped into mechanism only. But for this Redis cache implementation, we again required a Docker implementation. So what I thought, like before going ahead for the Redis cache, let's implement the video for creating for configuring Docker in the Windows, like what the configuration be needed and what the essential steps we need to follow. Okay, so I already made a detailed video for that. You can go in my Dev Essential playlist and you can find the Docker implementation, Docker installation and configuration video. which would definitely help you to install the Docker in your local system, because I explained all the steps pretty well and in a detailed format, so you would be able to understand and be able to install the Docker and configure the Docker in your local PC. So once the Docker get configured properly, it would be displaying in this way. The home screen will get displayed here. You might be get here login button, so just you go click here, so you would be redirecting to the Docker home page. So inside the Docker home page, like simply you can just give your name, ID and password, and you would be able to create the like Docker ID, okay, and the Docker profile. So once you get the Docker profile ready, so you can like log in here directly, okay. I don't have, yes, open. I have open. This is the Docker home page. So just here, if you don't have a your profile created, so you would get the sign up button. So just click the sign up button and put some details. After like putting the details, click submit, and afterwards you would be able to like get your Docker ID. And once you get the Docker ID, you can see here the ID, and my Docker application ID is the same one. Okay, so you can just put your Docker ID here in the application, and like it is not mandatory to create the Docker ID, but yes, for the like our tracking purpose, I created my Docker ID and put here. Okay, so what we need to do here in for the Redis cache. So what we are going to learn here today. So what is caching in ASP.NET Core, what is the Redis cache and why it is best for caching, okay, how to configure Redis and how to implement Redis in web API. So caching, so I know guys, if you already familiar about the software development, so you know knowing very well what is the caching. So caching is basically a technique of storing frequently used data and information in a memory or in a server or anywhere where it can be frequently accessed, okay. So if we have a huge data, like we are fetching a data for 2000 customer, 3000 customer, so definitely it would take a lot of time for getting the information from the database or from the third party APIs or anywhere outside the box of the API, okay. So what we do in this case, like instead of fetching that information from the third party or any second a platform or second API execution, so secondary API execution, so we prefer to use the same access data again and again, okay. So like if we have a we need to fetch we have a list of user IDs, and we are going to get the data from like database, okay, like 1 to 10 ID we have, and we are going to call the Oracle database and trying to get the like user details for 1 to 10 IDs, okay. So what we will do, we will again like call the API, or API again will go to the BL layer, then DL layer, and then again go to the Oracle databases, and then it will again run the procedure, get the data, and again will come back from as a response, okay, to the caller, and then only the data will be available to the caller, okay. So instead of doing these steps, what we can do, if we are going to call the same thing, like BBI is being used for the same purpose again and again, so in that case what we can do, we can just save the data in the caching server or in a caching memory. So whenever this same data is required, so we again don't need to like call the database or call the BL or call the DL. We can directly call to the caching API if this data is available, so they will like provide us the data immediately, okay. So instead of like for fetching the 50 records, if it is taking like 3 or like 2 minutes of time, okay. So if we using the caching, so it will instantly done in 1 or 2 seconds, because it does again like application don't need to go again in a BLDL and Oracle data access to get all this information. It will directly go to the like memory and read out the data, and the data would be available to the callers, okay. So that's actually provide the faster response, and that's also like decrease the cost to the other layers. Okay, so that also increase the performance of the API. So that's why it's a essential part of the API, and mostly all of the organizations are using this mechanism. So please be sure like you are understanding all the things properly and you are getting all the things. Okay, if you're not getting anything, if you're having any doubt, so you can ask me anytime. I told you like I provided you my Gmail ID, like you can visit the gmail.com, so you can just email me there, or we have our telegram channel, so you can also put there. So definitely once I get the like questions, so definitely I would be entertaining that. If you frequently wanted to see, so you will just put your comment below and highlight it. So definitely I try to, if I get any questions, so definitely I try to answer the questions. Okay, so basically caching is the important part of API, so that's why I'm telling. So caching, I told you. So how the caching data get stored? So basically cached data get stored in the key value format. So like if you aware about the hashing hash tables, okay, so all these tables and containing the data into the key value pair, the same format gets like you getting used here in caching. So for web APIs, basically we are using the data caching. Okay, data caching means we are mostly storing the data as a cache format. Okay, so the main aspect of data caching is caching the data we are getting from the data sources like Oracle database, from DL, from BL, or any third party APIs. So third party APIs like could be a Google API. If you calling, you wanted to get the information from the Google map, so definitely you will be getting the lots of information. So again like hitting the Google map, you can just save the data, and in case of same requirement you can like retrieve the same data from the caching memory and display to the sent to the caller. Okay, so why we are going to use the Redis only? So basically Redis is the fastest caching mechanism which is being used currently in the organization. Okay, it has been like compared with the MongoDB, NoSQL, SQL, and it's providing a much faster response as compared to these databases. So that's why Redis is preferably being used as compared to of this. Okay, like you can see Redis is a very fast and can perform about 110,000 sets per second. Sets means setting up the data into the caching. Okay, and about 81,000 gets per second, like 81,000 fetching the data from the cached memory. Okay, and support rich data type. Redis natively support most of the data types that developers already know. Yes, so that is the also one of major advantages of using a Redis. So Redis have their own portal and community center, so you can read all the like advantages, disadvantages, and it is also being used as a database. So you can also see the different advantages of using Redis as a database. You can see here, I can show you quickly what are the major advantages of using a Redis. If I see here, I don't see. This is the Redis community portal, so you can like get all the details here also, all the topics about the Redis. And okay, so topic is not there. You can see, you can find the all many like explanation for the using the Redis. You can just go there and read the blogs and details what are they saying about the caching. Okay, so I'm just showing this one, advantages of Redis. You can see Redis allow storing key value pair up to 512 MB, which is very huge. Means you can see like we storing the data in very weak, like 1 kb or 0.5 kb, 2 kb maximum, 3 kb, 4 kb, 5 kb, max by 1 MB. But it's giving us the advantage of storing the data around 512 MB. Okay, which means that Redis will support up to 1 GB of data for a single entry. Okay, Redis uses its own hashing mechanism. Like, so whatever the data is stored in the like Redis is pretty much secured. Like, it's not like anyone can see and anyone can introduce this data. Okay, so this data is very much secured. Data replication is also provided by the Redis, can withstand failure and provide the uninterrupted services. That's also our advantage. Messaging system is also provided by the Redis, inserting huge amount of data. So not only the like just my like saving, storing and getting the data is available in Redis, there are other implementation is also available in Redis. So if you wanted more about the Redis, so you can go ahead in this community portal and you can learn about Redis, more advantages of using the Redis. So let's frequently see how we can configure the Redis for our uh, Docker and get ready for the implementation in the web API. So we need to pull the Docker Redis image from the Docker Hub. Okay, so firstly we need to use this Docker pull Redis. Okay, so that it can be fetched from Docker Hub to our local system. Docker pull Redis. It may take some time. So 10 MB is here required and 27 MB is, so two containers, two slots are being downloaded here parallelly. Downloaded newer image for Redis latest. You can see the status here. Okay, means Redis is downloaded in our Docker Hub. Let's see here. You can see here Redis is available here, right? So either you can click here and run the Redis, okay, or you can just use the command prompt that is pretty much uh, well for configuring the things. So we fetch the Redis. Now what we need to do, create and run the Redis cache container. So we need to create one container for the Redis cache. Okay, Redis is available in our Docker, so we need create a separate container. Like we have a feature available, we need to, so like we can create a multiple container for the same facility. Okay, so like here we need to create a one container for the Redis for our CRMS API. Okay, so let's go ahead and create one container for that. Now I want to copy it. Control C. Okay, so I think it's added. the Docker container is added. So let's see whether it is added or not properly. Okay, so it is started. Okay, so what can we do next? So if it is started, so Docker exec your Docker container name. So my Docker CRNS Redis. Okay, Redis CLI Redis CLI Docker exec it crm Redis CLI. It is the same. Okay, so let's set it. Container Redis executable file not found. The path, so where it is going to be stored by default. First let's see CRMS Redis is running or not. Get name, let's see. Get name. Okay, so currently that is not being identified. CRMS Redis is running. Okay, so here we can open the CLI directly. And what we are get name. Okay, so let's see the get name. Get name not found means there is nothing is added yet. So what we need to see, we need to add one. So set name I am in heaven. Okay, so just set one key, set double quote CRMS API. Okay, says API I am CRMS API. So let's hit it. So it's been set now. Now again get name. Still not found. Okay, so it should come as set name CRMS API. Okay, it's not coming. Okay, set we already have done entry showing a value is, you can see CRMS API. It should come in get not found, get name, get space ms API. Get is actually not getting. So basically we have configured successfully our Redis here. So what we will be do, instead of doing here manually in a CLI, we will be doing in the API. So let's API configured for that. Okay, so once API gets configured and we are able to like see the we are able to see the this API configuration there, so we can can get and set the keys and values using the APIs, Redis API. Okay, so let's see once we are doing the configuration in application, so it should work afterwards. So let's go for the next part, like implementing Redis for the our API. Okay, so I hope you understood. Yes, so configure it properly, then we are going forward next to our API configuration. Okay, so our Redis container is ready and running in Docker. So we can go further for the implementation of the Redis cache. So you can see here CRMS Redis, which container we have created, so running in this 65503 port. Okay, so we can now go ahead and do the implementation for the caching in our web API, CRMS API. Okay, so let's go ahead. So in a testing API already I implemented the caching thing. So I can run this API and show you how it is working and how it is producing the result for the caching. Okay. So I implemented this caching mechanism here in get user details by ID API. Okay, so what it is doing now, whenever we are hitting the API, so when the first time we are hitting the API, so it goes to the database, come up with the response, if we have wanted to get the detail for the user ID one, so it will fetch out all the details for the user ID one. Okay, and then it will save the data into the Redis cache memory. So the when next time when we calling the get user details by ID with the same request, for the ID for the user one. Okay, so in that case what will happen, it will again go it will not go again go to the database for getting and pulling all the same details from the database. It will directly go to the cache, pick up the same data and send to the client. So instead of going BLDL, then Oracle databases, then finding the data, then picking the data, sending back to the DL, sending back to the BL, then again coming to the API. So reducing all this kind of step, we will be directly getting the data from the cached memory, from the Redis cache. Okay, so currently how it is working, I show you because I implemented in test API. Then further we will be emptying in our CRM API. Okay. So I hit this. You can see here I get user details by ID call has been sent. So I implemented this caching mechanism. You can see I'm calling get string async user API name plus user ID. Okay, so let me. So what it is doing now, it is firstly fetching the data from the Redis cache. This distributed cache method, which is giving us a get string method. So using this method, we can send the key, and as per the key, we can check that in the cache memory whether this key is present there or not. If this key is present, it means the data for this particular request is been already cached, and we can fetch that data. Okay, so I already called this API means earlier, so this data has been means cached properly in the memory. So you can see here, if I do the F10, so I found this data here in the cached memory. Let me show you the data how it is coming. So you can see here the data is already cached. Okay, so this time data is not coming from the our call like get user details, BLDL and the Oracle. The data is coming from cached memory. This method is like providing us the access for the caching memory. It is an interface, iDistributed interface, which has been implemented all the required method which are required for accessing the data, updating the data, and removing the data. Okay, so in a cache memory, so this is providing the feature for that. For that, we implemented iDistributed cache interface. So further, we will be discussing on that. I'm just showing you how it is working in my test API when we have already implemented. So you can see here the data is already coming here, means the data is already cached. So if I do F10, so my response will automatically map to this key. Okay, and reading the data from here from the cache, and this has been sent, and the response will get created and sent back to the caller. So it is not again going to the BLDL and then Oracle and then reading the data, then means sending the data back to the DL and then BL and then again to the API. It's directly going to the cache memory, reading the data for that key. If the key is present, means the data is already present there, pick up that data and see the send back to the API. Okay, so this is giving us the faster response, fast everything faster, you can say. Response perspective, it is very faster. I already told you about this. Okay, like the Redis is one of the fastest caching management mechanism is being used in the like organizations. It is faster than MS SQL, NoSQL, or MongoDB, whatever the means mechanism, caching and database mechanism is being used. Okay, so this is been executed for test API. Let's go ahead for the implementation for the our API. Okay, so we already discussed about what is the caching, what is data caching, what is Redis, and means what are the advantages of using Redis. So next to go to the implementation of Redis. Okay, so firstly, let me open CRMS API first. So please also make one thing, like if you are using, so please make sure whenever you are going to use the container, so this container is properly running here, like this container is in running status. Okay, then only you can like use these get set properties to implement this thing. Okay, CRMS API, this is okay. So this is already building, there is no issue. So then we continue for implementation. So I implemented this thing in my test API so that it should not take a lot of time for the implementation for each and every step, writing and all other stuff. I verify all the thing first, then I only go for your implementation, so that you can quickly understand. We can do the implementation and we can quickly close up this video. Okay, so that it can reduce the video length. Okay, so our API is building properly. So next we need to implement here. Okay, so for that we need to have a NuGet package, microsoft.extension.caching.stack exchange. Okay, so let's go to the manage NuGet package. Okay, let me copy the package name from here. Okay, so this is the no, this is the configuration, this is the implementation. Okay, So we need to copy uh, this. We can directly also like write that microsoft.extension.caching.stack so sometimes what happens, like if you're writing microsoft.extensions.caching, so it won't be appearing there. Okay, once you write that exchange Redis, then means when it gets its full format, then only it gets appeared. Okay, so let's put here, so you can see here this package we need to add in our API. Okay, so this has been finished, this has been implemented and installed in our project. Okay, so then what is next? We need to put the like this service details, like we need to create the middleware, inject the middleware for the Redis cache, okay, with the configuration details like port details, localhost in which this container is running. So in case of like production and in case of like integration server, so whatever your server details is here for the Redis cache, you can directly put here. Here I install the Docker in my local Windows and running the container in my local Windows. So localhost is sufficient for that. Okay, so it's fine. Let's go to the startup.cs and let's take that configuration from here and put there in CRMS API. JSON is there. This is the server. So this interfaces which we created. So let's put it after that. Control V. Okay, so this will what do like this will create a middleware for that. Okay, and it is running in 65503 port, which is our container port. 65503 port. Okay, so make sure both are matching. Okay, we can also like change the port, or we can like create on the different port. It might be running on a different port in your system, so just verify that before putting here. So my middleware is configured here, so now this detail would be available here. Okay, so this has been configured. Let's see what is next step. So next what we need to do, next we need to inject this interface, I distributed cache interface in our class. Okay, so what this interface is doing, like whatever the dependent method we require for managing the cache, like get method, set method, remove method, so those method configured in this interface, okay, declared in this interface and implemented in a package. So we can use this interface, and we can like after injecting this interface in our class, controller class, we would be able to like implement those methods. So there are two different kind of implementation we can do here. Either we can directly like inject I distributed cache dependency in our controller class, or we can create a one wrapper. We can say like Redis cache helper or something, yeah, caching helper something. Okay, and then we can like create our custom method. Like we can implement this I distributed cache method there, and we can also create a custom method for that. And I that is means I caching wrapper whatever we created, we can inject that wrapper here in our class controller class, and then we can like continue with the implementation. So that is the one way, like we cannot directly touching the I distributed cache method. We are creating one wrapper and using that wrapper to get interacted with the I distributed cache. Okay, this is the first approach. And in the next approach, like if we don't have too much things like in the project, and if we don't want to make it more complex, so we can like directly use the I distributed cache interface here, and we can inject the dependency and use that. Okay, So basically, I distributed cache have three different types of methods. One is get method. So get method is what get type of method is doing, like they are responsible for fetching the data. Okay, so like get all, get async, get async string, get string async. Okay, so all these get method are responsible for fetching the data from the cached memory. Okay, so we are passing some key, whatever the key we created in a cache memory, and when we are calling the get method, get string async and passing that key, so using that key, whatever the value is stored in the cache, we can directly call that value. Okay, we can directly get that value using the get method. Set is responsible, like if we wanted to set any new value in the Redis cache, we wanted to create a new key and value pair of cache, we wanted to create a new caching data, so on that case we like pass key like one string, unique string for that value, and whatever the data we wanted to store in the cache memory. Okay, remove async. So remove async are basically, as a name suggesting, like if we wanted to remove any key, like we had installed earlier some keys in the cache memory, now we are understanding like this key is not important for us now, no further is being used in the project. So on that case, like we can use the remove async and clear that cache memory for that key. Okay. Okay, so we also used a serialized and deserialized in the communication between the caching and our API. Since like data which is storing in the cache is in JSON format, and that JSON is like converted to as a string and storing the data as a string format. Okay, so in the case like when we were getting the data in a JSON format, and if we wanted to map that data to our response, like we are our API is returning the data as a user response. User detail is being returned as a user response. I show you. Okay, so you see our API is returning the data in a user response format. Okay, means return type user response. But when we are saving the data in the cassette, is saving the data in a JSON format. So we need to like serialize the data sometimes to the user response format, and whenever we are reading the data from the like cache memory to our API. So on that case, we need to convert that JSON data into the user response format. So instead of doing one by one, if we have a key mapped with our data, like we are using the same key which have been like stored in the cache memory, so we can just deserialize directly and we would be able to get the data in the user response format. Okay, so let's start how to implement that. So firstly, what we need to do, we need to create one property as we are doing earlier. Okay, so this property is going to be a read only. Okay, what going to be a name for that? Distributed cache we can say, or we can like put the distributed cache data, means whatever we find appropriate for our API, so we can create in the both way. Like you can see log is continuously creating for our API. That is the good thing. Like we implemented this, so we are tracking what we are doing here. So this is the test API. Okay, so what the key we created, I just wanted to make the consistent, that's why I'm coming here back. I can create that distributed cache we can put there. Okay, so we are putting this name as it is there. Distributed cache. Okay, read only. This is going to be I no, I distribute. Okay, we need to implement some. which is micro extension casing distributed. Distributed cache is there. Okay, then it will be reading automatically from this method. Okay, so reference is already added. This reference is required. Microsoft.extension.caching.distributed. Okay, for this. So distributed cache. Okay, the object is created for that. So we don't need to do set because we are not doing the set, we are only getting the date method, so we cannot set that. Okay, so property type is not required for that. And the same I distributed cache we need to declare here. Okay, as an injectable. And we are binding the data to our I distributed cache object. Okay, let's binding data here. So we have created this object for I distributed cache. We have injected the dependency, and whatever the dependency is there, we are like binding to the I distributed cache object. Okay, so now we can read this I distributed cache object, and we can use the read, get, and whatever the data, like whatever the methods be required. So let's use here. I commented this as authorized attribute here, so that like we don't need to like go authorization for creating the token and again passing the token this method to get it verified whether the caching is working. So that continuously we can run this API, and we can like debug the code. Otherwise we will need to firstly go to the authorization, getting the JWT token, verifying the authentication and authorization, then getting the access for this API. So if we commenting this attribute, so we won't be required to like pass this JWT token. So what next we are like this has been, so this method we need to configure, and the next I already so next we need to configure our class for the Redis cache. So middleware we already configured, so means whatever the dependency we require, that's been already loaded to our application through the middleware. Okay, so inside the middleware I distributed cache is already I distributed cache interface is already there, which has already implemented get, sync, set, and remove type of method for the caching management. So we need to inject the dependency for I distributed cache interface in our controller class. Once the dependency get injected, we need to like implement the this method as per our project requirement. Okay, so further what we are doing here, let's understand once. Then I already explained you, but let again understand, then I will do the same configuration there in our API, CRMS API. So we have this has been already okay. This is the simple like object is created which is not using this is, so this distributed object is there which have been injecting the dependency for our distributed cache. So inside there we are getting a get string async method. We also have some other get method. So why these method are being used, that we can understand one by one. Okay, so async, whenever we are getting a async means this method is get like making a call asynchronously. Okay, like this is a asynchronous method. Okay, so like we are using a get async here, and we are passing the method like API name underscore ID. So with this format we are storing the data for the ID 1. Like if id is coming 1, so what will be the format of a key? Get user details, like our method name, get user details by id, we can say. I think that would be more appropriate. Okay, by id we can say, so that it could be a same. So this method we are calling, so why we are calling this method? For getting the id details. So we are calling this method here, putting the method name underscore id1. So whenever we are calling the database for id1, so it will store the data for the id1 in the cache memory. Okay, when we are calling the this method for id2, it will store the data for id2. So the next time when the call is coming for id2, it will directly call it from the Redis cache. Okay, so what we are doing, we are get string async is calling. So what we are doing, we are passing this id to to get it confirmed, like whether this id is existing in that cache memory or not, for the disk cache memory. If this is existing, so this call will get the data for this key. Okay, so once the data is coming for this key, so it means like this data already been cached and available in Redis cache. Okay, so data is coming from here and we are binding this data to cached CRMS string. Okay, a data is coming, it means data was already cached. So the data is, if the data is available and already cached and we have fetched the data, so we are just deserializing the data, like we are whatever the string we are getting from the caching memory, we are mapping that string with the user response and we are returning the user response from here. Okay, so this is the first block. Else, like if this is coming empty, my like this data is not cached in the caching memory. So in the case, like if this data is not already cached in a caching memory, so this cached CRMS string will come as a blank. So what we need to do, like in the case like if it is coming blank, so if condition will like return as a false, so on that case we will come to the else part. So what else part is doing, like we will, I created here hard coded response, but we will be calling to the bl method here. Okay, and we will, after getting the response from the oracle to dl to bl, and finally from here in user response, we will bind we will again serialize the data into the JSON format. Okay, like in a string form, it is a string, but inside the double quote the data is in JSON format. You can see here if the data is coming or data is not coming currently. So okay, once it is serialized and converted to the string format, we can directly pass the data with the, this is key we created, and same as this which we are facing, which we are fetching from the caching memory. So this is the key. Okay, and after comma this is the value. So this key and value pair will get stored in the cache memory. Okay, so the next time when we are calling the cached memory with this key, so we will be getting the this data. Okay, so this key value pair will get stored in the Redis cache. Okay, so once this is stored, we will be returning our response as it is, but we are also saving the data into the cache memory. Okay, so when it is stored, when we again calling with the same id, so next time we will be not coming to this else part, we will be going to the this if part. Okay, so let's implement it and understand what we are doing. Time being, I'm just copying so that not, I'm also going to manage this code. This is not properly in managed format. So this is the logging mechanism we already did. Okay, so let it be as it is. So for this we need to add a reference for the system.text.json, so that JSON can be read as. So I also like introduced one more property here, iCached. It is a bool property, okay, which will be like telling us whether this data is cached properly in the caching memory or not. If it is cached, then directly we will be reading the data from the caching memory. Okay, so where is the entity here? Inside the user response. No, user response is this. Introducing one more property. Okay. So this is ic acid and this is type of bool. Okay, and we can also mark it as a ignore, which will indicate to our solution like this is the not a response property. This is just something which is being configured for the like which is being used for the configuration or which is being used for some other implementation, but this is not part of our response. So like in the case of like whenever the response is creating, so it will not force the like user or application to like get it include this each cassette key. Like user id may be required, first name will required, last name required, but this each cassette will not be required. Okay, so I'm just making adding the ignore attribute. So we need to add the auto mapper here. For that it is auto mapper attribute, auto mapper attribute. We need to install this one. That we can also keep as it is for the time being. I just wanted to introduce you with this attribute, that's why I implemented here. Okay, so this is capital, I think. This is okay. So each cache is already there. User control class. So we put this one. Okay. So CRMS response is this being used? My to do. Are we creating a response? So we will require this. So what we can do here? User response. User response. Okay. So all the places. ठीक है. So this has been like we created a two keys here. So here it is calling to this. This is loaded data from Redis cache here. We are deserializing here, marking user response. So what we can do, we can just return user response. Okay, so what we can do, control C, instead of returning from here, control V equal to, we are putting this for control X to here, shift function and delete, control V. Okay, okay. So we are using a user response. This is the user response. This is the user response. This is also user response. Okay, we need to put some different name here. New user response. We can put new user response. Okay. It is not required, and directly copy this and put here in new user response. Set your string, get user details by ID. Okay, so this has been implemented, I think. Okay, so we have implemented I distributed cache attribute here, object here, sorry. Okay, so what it is doing, I already explained, like we are firstly finding the key. If it key is present in the cache, so it will fetch out the detail and send us to the send us and map to this variable, okay, this object. And if this object have the value, so it will deserialize the data and map to the user response, and this user response data will store into this response object. Okay, and this user response object will get returned to the our API. And here, if the data is not available in the cache, if it is coming as a blank, as a null, so we are coming to the else part, and here we are calling our BL method. You can see here, this is the BL method function F12. You can see it is going to the BL. This is the BL interface. Okay, here we are the implemented. So if we go for the implementation, so it will be going to our BL method. See, you can see here BL is further calling to the DL. Okay, so if the response is not there in a cache, so it is calling to the BL and getting the data from the Oracle database basis. Then we are calling we are serializing the response into the string format. Okay, and we are again going ahead for the storing the data into the Redis cache here. So once the data is stored in the Redis cache, we can like pass the next time when the same key is coming, so we are getting the data from the caching memory, not from the databases. Okay, and we are returning the response. The user response we need to bind here because the new response is coming. We are saving into here, but so this is not required, I think. Not required. Return else. The user response is ultimately returning. So what we can do, we can map this user response, control V, with this new user response, control V. So in the case both, okay, response is returning properly. So let's see how it is working after implementation. Oh shit, I have first time let's put the debugger, okay, so that we can see how it is working, whether the response is coming or not, okay, so that we can like confirm ourselves whether it is working properly or not. So let me check VM test is also running. No, it is not running. Okay, so now this is running. So we already have a debugger here in our get user details by ID. So let's get the instance code opened. This is opening. Okay, so we don't need of authorization currently. We have disabled that attribute. Okay, so we need to call this get user details by ID. So try it out. Put ID as a 1. Execute it. So control is coming here function after logging is working. Let's see. First time ID is coming as a 1. What is the ID? ID is 1. Okay. So means get user details by ID is a method underscore 1. Means 1 user ID. So let's see. No data will come for that because it is running first time for that ID with that method name. Okay, so TNS is stop. Already so this sometimes happen like TNS automatically gets stopped. So on that case, what Oracle TNS service we need to run this service. Okay, that's why I'm using a hard coded value because that will not require to connect with the database. Okay, so it started running. So now we can again do the same thing. Execute it. Control is coming here. Let's put one debugger here, one debugger anywhere else. Okay, F10. See what data is coming. There is no data coming. Okay, it means this key was not saved in the cache memory. Okay, so if you wanted to see how the key is created, so shift F9 you can put and see. Like because we did not included this. Okay, you can see this format the key is getting stored. Get underscore user details underscore 1. Okay, so the key is not coming, so we will definitely going to the else part. In the else part we are calling to the DL, so let's continue, don't wait too much time here. Okay, so the data is coming here in response, you can see. Okay, all the data is coming, so we are going to store and set the data into the cache memory for that. So this data is going to set, this is the key, and this is the value. You can see the value is already there, and this is in JSON format, which has been converted to the string format, because key value pair are storing in a string format in a Redis cache. Okay, key value pair. Okay, so if it's been done, each cache is false means the response was not available in a cache. It is coming from the directly database. Okay, let's run this again for the same key. Let's see how the data is coming from cache, and whether the same data is coming or different data is coming. So let's again hit, again came here in this API F10. Okay, so this time data should come from this cache memory. See, data is coming. This data is coming. Okay, means our caching, the data is coming from the caching. So we are making it true here, is cache true. Function F10 data is coming, so let's make it true. Return the data. So you can see each cache true and all the data is coming. Each cache is true and all the data is coming as the data we are getting from the Oracle databases. So this is the caching mechanism. This is a very essential mechanism which we are continuously using in multiple organizations, and this is very much demanded. So please guys, make sure to understand all the things properly. If you are having any doubt, please put that question in the comment box, or mail me, or ping me in Telegram channel. So I will definitely try to help you out on that. So thank you so much for the watching. Let's see on the next video. Please make sure you are understanding and implementing all the things in your local system. Okay, thank you so much for the watching. See you.